Oh, welcome back, guys. It's been a bit of a time since we've been together, and it is now late summer, and we have just got done servicing our Massey Ferguson here. We've been put some narrow tires on it because we need to run down and fertilize that grass field down by the sheep, and our potatoes are ready. Potatoes are ready to harvest, so we need to order up some. Order us up some harvesting equipment. So the guys down at the shop uh, told me all about a website that they have, and I could just go on the website and order up uh, some equipment. So we're going to go ahead and sit down here at our laptop and order us up some potato harvesting equipment so we can come by and pick that up a little bit later today. So it looks like the website here has been nicely laid out into categories. So I was going to pick up this grimy potato topper and harvester, but some guys over at the Three Dudes Farm that are farming over on the West Coast told me that they've had some pretty bad experiences with these two pieces of equipment. Apparently, the topper has a working width of 3.2 meters, and you would think that you could then pull the harvester behind it, but the harvester only has a working width of 2 meters. And they were telling me that their experiences over at the West Coast were such that they had a hard time telling where they had been in the field because the potato harvester, I guess, puts the ground back down so well that they weren't able to really tell very easily where they had already been. And as a result, they were really worried that they were leaving a lot of crops still in the ground. Of course, we could always rent out this self-propelled harvester, but I think it's a bit too big for our field, for our two fields, and we'd probably spend more time trying to navigate in and around the trees and everything. So we're actually going to go with this old school, kind of a Russian or Western, but Slavic type implement that digs the potatoes up out of the ground and lays them back down on the ground. We can come by later and pick them up. So we're probably going to go with this, and we're not going to need to own it. So we're just going to lease this. Well, I think we can buy it and probably sell it back for a fair good amount of money. And then um, we're looking at something to pick the potatoes up off the ground, and I was thinking about using this particular implement. It's a trailed conveyor belt that will pick the potatoes up and then deposit them in a tipper. So we're going to go ahead and pick that up. And then we're going to need a tipper. So probably the best use of our money is going to be to continue to use our AR trailer and pick up a tipper based on that design. So we've got a few options here. We've got this little Brantner 16,000 liters. We've got the taller Crampe 30,000 liters. We've got a Bergman 30,000. Got an AgriLiner. Got a standard Lizard tipper. And we've got the Flegel. Let's see here. What's our cost? This is obviously the best deal. Lowest capacity. I guess let's go with this AgriLiner. Although it's the most expensive. I don't know about that. We'll just go with this one for now. Like I said, I'm not really sure about the height clearance that we'll get with that auger. So let's just go ahead and pick that up. We've went ahead and placed our order, so we'll be able to go down and pick that equipment up here in a little bit. But like I said, what we need to do right now is run down and fertilize that grass field down by the sheep. So we have been, just to catch you up a little bit, We've been working pretty hard up in the woods just above us here for the last 5 or 6 game days. Um, we've been, of course, caring for our cows. We are up to 103 cows now. And we've, of course, been selling milk as we need to sell milk. Getting into a little bit of a groove there. We just topped off all of our feed and everything yesterday, so we should be good until tomorrow. I'm trying to get into a schedule with cows on an every other day schedule. So on the even days, we will be tending to them. Take a look at our potatoes here. Like I said, they are ready to be dug up out of the ground. So they are the above ground plant is withering away there. That means that the potato is ready to come out. Our barley field up here is getting very nicely ready as well. I don't think it's quite ready yet. It's probably not going to be until early autumn that our wheat and barley fields are ready. And I'm also expecting that our big grass field will be ready. Finally get the first cut off of that field in early autumn. But got a fair amount of work yet to do here in late summer with our potato harvest. That should keep us busy for a little bit of time at least. Take a look at our forecast. As you can see, our ground temperature, she's come up to 52 degrees, but I think that's probably about where she's going to hit. I don't see her getting too much higher than 52 with the temperatures that we've got forecasted in the forecast for the rest of summer. Got sun in the forecast for today and tomorrow. Tomorrow a high of 72. I have to say that is a very nice temperatures that we're seeing for late summer here in the farm valley are fairly low, and I can tell lots of people in the states that would love to have seen these types of temperatures in the middle of summer. That is for darn sure. So we had to swap out our tires so that we didn't crush any of our grass here and set it behind. Go ahead and get this area here fertilized up real quick, and then we should be able to run down to the shop and pick up our potato lifter, what I'm going to call it, and see how it works. So you can kind of see our bank balance here. It's going up a bit. I don't really know where it was last time we were together, but like I said, we've been hard at selling some logs, selling some forestry stuff. We had to notice that there was a great demand for wood chips, but we did not exercise that great demand simply because we had to invest in wood chipping equipment. By the time we went and invested in the wood chipping equipment, we would have pretty much completely used up any profits we'd have gained. Trying to employ the latest in drone technology to be able to better tell where we've been on this field. Typically on a field that we could make more up and down runs, we would just engage our GPS, but this fairly circular field is another beast entirely. And I think we'd spend more time reversing and changing direction than we would actually fertilizing the field should we decide to have just made north-south runs. And with saying that, what we're basically doing is reversing and changing direction. But we won't be too much more longer here. So the guys down at the wool distributor reminded me of our commitment to them with respect to selling them wool next spring and summer, and they wanted to make sure, because they heard that we just picked up a load of cows. They wanted to make sure that we were still planning on holding our end of the bargain up there as far as the wool goes, and I informed them that sheep were very much still in the plan. We're simply waiting until we had better preparations on our farm to support our sheep operations, and that I anticipated picking sheep up around the middle of autumn. So we've got almost a season, full season before I see us picking those up. Like I said, we need to pull in I want to pull in one hay harvest off of this field and have it put away before we pick up our sheep. I don't want to be driving bales of hay down from the cow farm over here to the sheep. That would be a bit excessive when I have fairly easy access to some grass right here. I don't know who cut this little road in here, but I do have to thank them. They are going to be saving us a ton of time, having us being able to cut through here, as opposed to taking our big machinery out onto the main road and navigating the normal roads that everyone else also uses. We're going to pull this on in here and drop our fertilizer spreader. We're going to keep the little skinny old wheels on this thing, just in the event that the big old tires end up possibly smashing our potatoes into the ground to the point where we wouldn't be able to lift them up out. Or, oops, put it in reverse, everybody. Let's just check our field information overview. So here we have, let's go ahead and pick up our grass. As you can see, we are technically in the first stage of harvest for our grass fields, but I want to wait. Up here, another grass field. I want to wait until this is further along, so we'll get a better yield off of that. See, our potatoes here are at the remove top stage, and everything else is in some stage of growing. And we now have everything in full fertilized, so we'll have full productivity off of everything as it does come in. Head on down to the shop and check out our new equipment. We'll be needing to do some maintenance on our two John Deere tractors very, very shortly. They are getting close to the manufacturer's suggested maintenance cycle of 30 operating hours. Probably be doing that in the next day or so, because today we're going to be able to use our Massey to basically dig the potatoes up off the ground. But we're going to need to employ at least one, if not two, of our other tractors with respect to the. Let's just check in here on our soybeans. They look to be coming along quite nicely. That very tall. See the bean pods in there? Growing rather very well. Oh, there's our equipment. As I was saying, we're going to need to use at least one, if not both, of the other tractors when we come time to lift potatoes up off the ground. Here's our lifter. It's a very simple apparatus. Basically digs the potatoes up, cleans them over the grate, and deposits them in a kind of a windrow there. This particular apparatus is also very simple. You have a conveyor belt that picks the potatoes up off the ground, swings them around, and runs them up here to the top. And then this will extend out the side. And of course our trailer here. Looks like pretty glad we didn't get any of the tall tippers, because unless that conveyor extends up, we're not going to have a lot of clearance. So that was a pretty wise decision there, I have to say so. Alright, let's go ahead and pick up our potato lifter here and get to town. I tell you, I am really excited to get to do something other than working up in the forest. So we've been working up there for quite a bit the last few days, mostly trying to recoup some lost money. Not really lost money, but some spent money with respect to the cows. The cows are bringing us in a fairly steady bit of income every few days, so that's good. Still, with our first harvest just now coming in, it was looking a little worrisome, knowing that we had to expend money to lease some harvesting equipment to bring our crops in, knowing that we had to buy up our sheep to satisfy our commitment to the wool dealer, and we also want to get some pigs. So, a little worried as far as the amount of money that we had. Let's just pull on in here and give this thing a whirl. Alright, so let's lower our implement here. Let's turn her on, and on this particular deal we need to also do left control I to unload here. Otherwise it will not unload. And let's ease on into the field. And there's our potatoes piling up behind us. We're going to do a couple laps around here to free up some space, and then we're going to make some up and down passes. And the way this is going to work is we're going to have to come around after we dig all these potatoes up. Wow, can't see through the trees. We're going to have to come around after we dig these potatoes up, and we're probably going to scoop up at least one round around the field with the telehandler and the bucket. We're going to need to pick up a bucket in order to make some room for our tractor, and because we'll have to have a tractor that pulls the conveyor belt to lift the potatoes off the ground, and then we'll need a tractor to also
pull the tipper wagon. So probably need to maybe even pull two passes off the field so that we can do that. No, probably just one. We just need one because what I don't know is if with crop damage, we are running the crop damage mod on the map, and what I don't know is if with crop damage we have to worry about run over the potatoes, if they will basically disappear or not. So what we're going to do is we're going to let's see here. Let me get out of here because I think I'm missing some. Yep. So what I don't know is if running the tractor over the tractor with the trailer, if running that over the potatoes will end up causing the potatoes to be lost, i.e. damaged. So we're going to pick up the outside row with the telehandler and get that off the ground, and then we'll come around with the conveyor and pick up the second to the outside row in such a way that the trailer is running on the outside where we've already picked up the potatoes. The reason we need to do that is we've got trees and fence and all kinds of things here right on the edge of the field, so we're not going to be able to run that tipper along the edge of the field. We're going to have to kind of just pick some up along the outside edge and then make our way. So it's going to take a little bit of time, so we're just going to go ahead and kind of speed this up and probably make some creative edits, creative cuts to cut this out. Alright guys, well this thing in GPS seems to be a little bit temperamental, but we're just going to finish digging this field up off camera, and we come back next episode, we'll be picking the potatoes up off this field. We're just going to dig up this field and collect this field, and then we will do the same with the field back there behind us. We're not going to dig up both fields and have the potatoes on the ground on both fields at the same time. Just going to go ahead and just tackle this one field at a time. It looks like it's probably going to take the rest of the game day to pick these up, and we'll come back tomorrow, game day 18, to pick these potatoes up off the ground. So I want to thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please go ahead and consider clicking that like button. If you're not a subscriber, I'd love for you to go ahead and subscribe so you get notices of the additional content that we'll be putting into the channel. We will do Let's Play series on this map. Hopefully for Monday, or on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I have recently started expanding the channel and doing some racing videos. I've been doing racing for a while now, a couple years, but just never really brought it into the channel. Never really did anything active with my YouTube channel. You know, I put some family videos up and shared them privately for several years. But never really did anything public until I started doing farm sim content, and start bringing some racing into the channel. And as such, I've kind of got to split my production time between racing and farming, and of course family life. So family life comes first, and then racing and farming will come after that. So we may need to fall back to a little less often release schedule. I don't know yet, because secretly I've got a couple of weeks of videos already queued up. Recording this probably about 2.5 weeks before it's actually going to air. So I do have a bit of a buffer to hopefully work through, and I'll know, as we get further through that buffer, if I'm going to need to dial back the release schedule or not. Everything, but getting pretty positive feedback. You all are enjoying this series. Those of you obviously that are watching it. Here's where we did a pass. We're doing another pass, but it looks like we're only getting half of the half of what we got on the other pass. But at any rate. So encourage you to check out the PCSG web community, as well as the 3 Dudes Gaming Network. Over at 3 Dudes, they have a multimedia, or not a multimedia, sorry, a multiplay server that is open to any 3 Dudes media member. And if you want to play on a adult-oriented, not adult as in language, but adult as in mature, oriented farm sim multiplayer server, then go over and sign up for the 3 Dudes website. There's a link in my description, and there will be information on how to join the multimedia server. I keep saying multimedia. Join the multiplayer server. I have been streaming the multiplayer server every Saturday night, and I'll try to continue to do that as long as there is interest in having that in the channel. Again, I said I'm recording this particular episode a couple weeks ahead of when it's going to air, but as of the recording of this episode, we had the last streaming night, we had 6 guys in the server, all participating in various things, from harvesting to baling to fertilizing and plowing, doing great teamwork. So it's an open server, so once you're a member you can log in and play whenever you have time, whenever you want. You may be in there by yourself, or you may be in there with 3 or 4 other folks. It all really depends on what's going on. So, with that, I'll leave you until next time. Happy farming.